Have you ever wondered what a cigar malt or a cigar blend whiskey is? What is this trend that people are really jumping onto? And why is it so desirable? Well, if so, stay tuned. Cheers, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bourbon and Booze. This one has been in the making for a very long time. It's actually been all planned out, and the script has been written and stuff, but then life hit me full in the face, and it's just been sitting there by the wayside. So I'm finally glad that I can get here and film it and let you know what's going on. So a cigar blend whiskeys are a very special category of whiskey created to complement the flavor and aromas of cigars. As you know, lots of whiskey drinkers are also cigar smokers, and cigar blend whiskeys are a special category of whiskey created to complement the flavors and aroma of cigars. As you know, or may not know, but you are about ready to know, lots of whiskey drinkers love cigars, and vice versa. And so they do go hand in hand. And so cigar smokers are always looking for that perfect blend. So this concept behind these blends is to provide a rich, complex, and robust flavor profile that pairs well with the bold and nuanced characteristics of cigars. Not cigarettes, cigars, because cigarettes is just plain tobacco flavor and don't really pair well. Here's an overview of this history and development of cigar blend whiskeys. So here in the United States, a lot of people, in fact, most whiskey drinkers here in the United States are unaware that this goes back to the 20th century, the late 20th century. They have a completely different idea of the origins and beginnings of the cigar blend that are about 20 years beyond really what started it all. So the idea of creating whiskey specifically for cigar pairing can be traced back to the late 20th century, about the 1980s. And when the popularity of premium cigars was on the rise. So cigars had kind of died out and weren't very popular in the 70s and late 60s, early 70s. It was more of the cigarellas and cigarettes and thing. You can just look at moves and see that cigars were a much older kind of vice. So, but in the 1980s, cigars started rising, especially premium cigars, imported cigars. So this popularity started people to think that they would like a paired whiskey. So connoisseurs and aficionados sought to enhance their cigar smoking experience with beverages that would complement the flavor of their cigars. The first cigar blend, or the earliest recognized cigar blend in whiskeys, is Dalmore Cigar Malt, which I happen to have a bottle of. This is a newer one. But initially introduced by Y.N. Mackay, or Mackay, Mackey. I've had people try to correct me on that, and there's different ways of saying it, but it's Mackay, Y.N. Mackay. In the 1990s, actually, or just about in the 1980s. So, is really in the late 1980s, about 1986, 87, this idea began going. But in the early 1990s, Richard Peterson, the master blender of Y.N. Mackay, was instrumental in developing this whiskey, the Dalmore. The Dalmore cigar malt was crafted with the intention of creating a whiskey that could hold its own against the intense flavors of cigars. So cigar blends aren't created by accident. And they're not going from barrel to barrel and saying, oh, this would actually be good with a cigar. No, they're created intentionally from the initial barreling to the mash bill to the aging process. Cigar blend whiskeys are typically characterized by rich, full-bodied, and complex flavors, which is a pitfall as The whiskeys often have pronounced notes of dried fruits, spices, chocolate, and tobacco, making them an ideal companion for cigars. The maturation process often involves aging in sherry casks or other specially created specialty casks to impart these distinctive flavors. So there's a thought from the beginning of the mash bill to the very end on how to get this cigar blend. Following the success of Dalmore Cigar Blend, other distilleries began to explore and produce their own cigar blend whiskeys. Brands like Glendronach, Glenfiddich, and this one is Tomatul. Hopefully I said that wrong. Right. I said it wrong. Hopefully I said that right. And various independent bottlers started creating expressions designed to pair with cigars, and they were called cigar malts. Because the factor that they all shared was they're all going to be European, specifically Scotch, but European single malts. Dalmore Cigar Malt faced discontinuation in the mid-2000s, but was later revived due to popular demand. It was rebranded as Dalmore Cigar Malt Reserve, which is what this one is. With slight modifications to it, its blend was very popular to help enhance that connection with cigars. Hopefully I said that one. That sounded kind of weird. But this new cigar malt reserve is just specifically designed from the beginning to the end to help enhance the cigar appeal, the pairing, but also keep in mind the original from the 1990s cigar malt blend. In recent years, more distilleries and independent bottlers have entered the market with their own takes on cigar blend whiskeys. This includes limited editions and special releases aimed at the cigar smoking community. Unfortunately, by doing this, these become very expensive. While the concept started with Scotch whiskey, has since expanded globally. Producers from regions such as the United States, Ireland, and Japan have experimented with creating whiskeys that are suitable for this pairing. Cigar blend whiskeys are crafted to offer a balance of sweetness, spice, and robustness that are common tasting notes. Also include dried fruits such as figs and raisins, chocolate, coffee, spices like cinnamon, nutmeg, and a subtle bit of smokiness, but also staying with the original of that tobacco kind of chocolatey essence. When pairing cigar blend whiskeys with cigars, the goal is to match the intensity and flavor profile of the whiskey with that of the cigar, so they're not offsetting each other. For example, a rich and full-bodied cigar would pair well with a similarly robust and flavorful whiskey. The history of cigar blend whiskeys reflects the ongoing quest to create a harmonious experience between premium cigars and fine spirits. From their conceptual beginnings in the late 20th century to the diverse offerings available today, cigar blend whiskeys have carved out a niche that centers enthusiasts looking for the perfect pairing of smoke and spirit. So, here in America, we've had kind of a myth, if you will, and bourbon drinkers will almost die on this in stating that Joseph P. Magnus was the first cigar blend. Now, Joseph P. Magnus came out in 2016. It's highly sought after. It's also hugely expensive in states that don't have any type of allocation availability. So ABC states obviously can get it, and they're usually at cost, but they're still very expensive. But here in Texas and other states where prices can go out the roof on hard to find things, Joseph P. Magnus tends to be quite expensive, over $100, $150 to $300, $400, $500 in some cases. But Joseph P. Magnus is not the first cigar blend. This is. And I do have a scattering of cigar blends. I probably have more in the bar. We have 1,500 bottles in this bar. But when looking for a specific cigar blend, We have the Dalmore cigar blend, obviously, which is one of my favorites. The Tomatillo cigar blend. It's a Speyside single malt. That's what I'm drinking right now. And we'll talk about that taste in a minute. Recently, we have the Iron Root Harbinger cigar blend, one of the most recent first experiences I had in the distillation and process of a cigar blend. I was actually involved in the bottling of this and was one of the first ones to get one. Unfortunately, the cork broke. But this is from Iron Root, and it was specifically created from start to finish as a cigar blend. Now, some of the pitfalls in, especially in America, with the cigar blend and the idea of what is a cigar blend and what is not is a craze that started about 3 years ago and is now dying off because I think people have found out they either love it or hate it, and that's Ambaronas. So a lot of people mistakenly think that Ambarana, which is a Brazilian wood, is, and it's used for finishing. You never age your whiskey in Ambarana because the flavor intensity of that wood is so intense that you can only age it or finish it, for a very short time, like days to weeks to maybe a month, depending on volumes, 2 months. But you don't want to age it too long because the more you age it, the more flavor intensity it gets, and it's a very cinnamon heavy flavor. And a lot of people think that is very complementary to cigars. It's also got a very smoky flavor, if you ask me, but that's my profile. So I do have a Doc Swinson straight bourbon whiskey that's finished in the Brazilian Ambarana cask. It is a aroma bomb in your nose, and I can, as a former cigar smoker, I can almost see how people like Ambaranas with cigars, but I also feel that those profiles, while intense and robust, actually probably contradict each other in some ways. I guess it really depends on how well the Ambarana is blended and put out. It just seems like this Doc Swinson here is actually a really good Ambarana. I'm not an Ambarana fan, but as you can see, I do partake every once in a while when I want something extremely robust. But I have several bottles of Ambarana whiskeys in this room that I probably will never drink because it is just too intense. And so I can see it as contradictory to being a cigar blend, not complementing it, but competing against it. But that's my opinion, and I really want to know your opinion. However, I am grateful that the Ambarana craze is dying out. You're not seeing that much because everybody was on board, and it is so easy to ruin whiskey. I think 90% of the Ambaranas that hit the market completely misfired and were overdone and probably should never have been released. Personally, I would use them as cocktails to kind of enhance the cinnamon style whiskey. But again, that is my opinion, and I would be happy to hear your opinion. So the Tomatillo, I don't smoke cigars anymore, haven't for quite some time. Health issues and insurance reasons, and just a life choice. I decided not to smoke cigars. I weighed way more than I do now, and I felt that I needed to start living a better healthy lifestyle, even though I do partake in whiskey. But I have lost about 60 pounds, I think, 70 pounds from my height, or my highest, my heftiest. And part of that was stop smoking cigars. So I'm not going to pair this, but this is definitely a very robust aromatic Speyside. Now I can tell it's a Speyside right away by its flavor profiles of floral, sweetness, honey, a very light aroma or light airiness about it. The aroma is kind of heavy. One of the heavier space sides, and it is a sherry cask, Oloroso sherry cask, so you can definitely get that. It is 86%, so not too high on the percentage. A lot of my cigar friends like high proof with their whiskey, so I also think that contradicts a cigar blend as well. The higher the proof, the more the whiskey is taking over. The flavor of the cigars are not, they're competing again, kind of like the Amburana. And I think that they need to complement each other equally and not one take over the other. That's the whole purpose of the cigar blend, is to get that perfect complementary about. But now this Iron Root is high proof. It's 57.5 or 115 proof. Not too bad. The Dalmore, I believe, is right around 80, but the problem with the Dalmores is it's kind of hard to find the proof. I don't see it here, and I didn't see it here. Oh, it's up on the neck. It's 44, so 88. And of course, the Doc Swinson, I believe, is high proof, 113.9. So you're seeing the difference between the success of the Scotches being a little bit lower proof compared to American whiskeys being much higher proof. So I think that American whiskeys, and I don't know what Joseph P. Magnus is. I've never owned a bottle. In fact, I don't know that I've ever had a taste of Joseph P. But I think American whiskeys are trying to match that pairing with higher proofs and more robust flavor, and I think they're are missing the mark for that pairing aspect. The pairing should complement each other, and I think the American whiskeys are kind of over paired to the cigar compared to European whiskeys. Again, that's my opinion. So leave that compliment or that comments below. A nice sweetness, very robust, chocolatey. There's some tobacco there. Still have the florals of a Speyside and that Oloroso, but I definitely can see sitting down with cigar and smoking this and having that melding, because I find cigars sweet as well, the melding of flavors. So I don't know, are you a cigar malt fan, or do you just like to smoke a cigar with any whiskey you have? And what is your favorite whiskey to smoke with your cigar? How do you like to pair it? Or is pairing even something you're thinking about? Let me know in those comments below. Let me know of any other whiskeys that are specifically designed as cigar blends. I know there's much more in the Scotch world. Like I said, I think Glenmorangie has one. I even think Macallan had one at one time. Glenfiddich has one. I think we mentioned Glentronic. They definitely have one. So the Scotch world has many more opportunities for those cigar malts. American whiskeys probably do not. I would consider these craft whiskeys not mainstream, and I would say that Joseph P. is probably more mainstream than craft. But let me know if there's any out there. I can't think of any mainstream ones, like a Maker's Mark or something, which I think Maker's Mark would be a perfect cigar blend, but that's my opinion. All right, let us know what you think. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. It means so much to us on the show. Part of the reason that I've been fully out of it for a while is a lot of family issues, health family issues, not my own, but very concerning health family issues. But I've also been kind of struggling with, I don't know, it's not depression, but just the desire. No, not desire. I have a strong desire to make these videos, and I have a strong desire to keep Bourbon and Booze alive. I have a lot of fun. The editing kind of gets me down a little bit. I have switched to Adobe, and so that's a learning curve for me. So there's a lot of issues on that end, but the willingness to actually sit here and do this sometimes is been very hard with all the other things in my life. But your love, your comments, and especially your like and subscribe, hitting the like and subscribe, means that you enjoy this and helps give me a little bit more motivation and excitement to do these for you. I really wanted to do this one for a long time. I've talked to lots of people about it. They're even looking forward to it. And so I'm super excited to try to keep this going. But make sure you leave any comments you have in the comment section. Just leave negative comments too, just very nice. And make them constructive comments and not mean comments. We need to make our world a little bit nicer, especially in this day and age. All right, so we will see you on the next episode where, well, I don't know what we're doing yet, but we do have an episode where we make a fabulous cocktail, Cody and I do, for a very hot summer day. So you need to make sure you watch that on Friday. I'm super excited about it. We've already filmed it, and it is going to be an editing nightmare, kind of like this one, but it was a lot of fun. All right, have a great summer. We'll see you the next episode. Hopefully that'll be tomorrow, but we'll let you know. And remember, there is no bad whiskey, even though I'm not a fan of Amber on it. I love Doc Swenson, but not Amber. There's no bad whiskey. Somebody out there likes that whiskey enough that it's a market for it. So if you find it on the shelf, if you have to pay money for it, find it on the shelf or it's in somebody's house and it's a legal whiskey, then it's not bad. It just may not be for you. If it's an illegal whiskey, that's a whole different story. But remember, there are no bad whiskeys. There's only good whiskeys and great whiskeys. This is great. This is great. This is fabulous. Amber on it. So, all right, cheers.